Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "My fiance's mom gave me abortion pills as an early Christmas present. How do I navigate this situation?" I typed the title and proceeded to blankly stare at my phone because I can't even process how and why this happened. We were having an early holiday gathering hosted at his parents' house. It wasn't a small gathering either, and not everyone there knows we're expecting, except for his brother, mother, and father. Right before we got ready to leave, she gave me a small gift box, which I initially thought contained jewelry, and told me to tell her or my fiance what I thought of it. All of this kind of happened in a rush, and there wasn't even a gift exchange between everyone because it wasn't that kind of party, but everyone thought she was being sweet to me because we're getting engaged soon. I was honestly tired and opened the gift at home, where I discovered this wicked woman had given me pills, mifepristone and misoprostol, which are used for medical abortion. I understand she wasn't too happy about the news and obviously doesn't like me for reasons I can't fathom, but she kept it civil and so did I. But reaching this level, I genuinely don't know why she doesn't like me when the rest of the family is completely fine with me. I assume it's either because of my ethnicity or because she has a superiority complex and believes I'm not good enough for her son, since he graduated from a very prestigious university and has been financially privileged his entire life while I haven't been. Even though now I earn my own money and we are pretty much equal, I simply don't know. I obviously told him about it and showed him the pills. He saw how visibly upset I was, comforted me, and said what she does or says to me doesn't reflect my worth and that he would talk to her. I don't understand why he doesn't do something about it immediately. It has been almost 24 hours. We are happy about this pregnancy, and even though it wasn't exactly planned, it was welcome if it happened. That is something he and I discussed over a year ago. Edit, to those wondering how she could have gotten abortion pills without being pregnant. They can be ordered online and delivered discreetly. You don't have to go to a clinic. Or she could have paid someone to get them. Either way, they are accessible, and honestly, I don't care how she acquired them. It's what she did with them that matters. If you need any further adjustments or assistance, feel free to ask. Update. To start off, I didn't talk to any friends or family. I know the situation best and I tried to view it from everyone's perspective. I want to provide some background so everyone can understand a bit better where I'm coming from. My partner is from a wealthy background while I am middle class. My family has gone through periods when our electricity would be cut off and my father would do any job to get vegetables, fruits, and bread. Meanwhile, my partner has had everything handed to him on a silver platter and had seen the world by the time I had traveled further than neighboring countries. I remember at the beginning when I met him, I mentioned an experience of staying at a hostel. He asked if it was like going with a school group. Yeah. Anyway, I have traveled a lot, staying at hostels, and truly loved it, especially when I traveled alone. I met so many amazing people and had late-night deep conversations. At one point, I was even convinced I had met my soulmate. On that note, the soulmate person, I dreamt of him again last night. I woke up before I got to speak to him. My partner was born into wealth. Several generations of his family attended one of the top 5 universities in the world and traveled extensively. You get the idea. I decided to do something manipulative. I know it's probably even illegal, but I had to do it in order to get him to open up. I told him I saw a cool hack on TikTok for a whiskey glass where you freeze water in the glass while it is tilted so you don't have to add ice. Whatever, you get the idea. So I told him to try it out, but my main goal was to get him talkative and open up to me. And no, he didn't talk to his mother, but once again, screw her. This is between us. I asked him if it worked well that way and he said yes, to which I replied that I wished I could try it but couldn't drink alcohol now, and he just laughed. I said maybe I should use your mom's gift, haha, to which he only smirked and looked away from me, and I just knew something was up. I don't want this to be too long, but his mother is insane. She kicked him out at the age of 11 and called the police on the same day because she said he ran away. She threatened suicide and tried to do it. She is diagnosed with a personality disorder. This is as short as I could make it, because the update isn't really about them. I told him that personally I'm unsure about having a child, and he told me he would support any decision I made. So much for being a happy father. I am leaving the country in less than 2 weeks and will be having a medical abortion. I don't want to be part of this family. Essentially, their opinion is that I'm in it for the money, which I never even thought about, and yes, I'm financially independent. While I do live with him, I'm more than capable of living without his financial support. The leave is for me to take a break from everything that has happened. I put actual jewelry in his mom's box along with the abortion pills that came with it. It's a break is what I said to him because he was in a vulnerable position and I didn't want to distress him further. But I'm leaving and I can definitely provide for myself, so that's not an issue. In less than 2 weeks, I'll be away. Once again, thank you to everyone who commented and messaged me. It has been overwhelming and I can't reply to everything, but thank you very much for being there for me. Edit. The jewelry I put in the box is the ring he proposed with. I didn't buy her anything. User coming in the Nile said, "The world of the wealthy is a truly strange place. I used to work in it and around it as a peon, and the norms there are so ass backwards compared to the rest of society. I have so many crazy stories." User going all the J said, "I love how so many people assume they are middle class when they are obviously not. It works both ways. So few people admit to being well off. If you grew up having the power cut off with your parents doing low-wage gig work to feed you, you are not in the middle class." User Rohini Rambles said, "For those confused about the glass, I think that because it was used as part of the plan to assault her, she views the whole glass situation as a criminal tool. That's definitely a trauma-related viewpoint. I am glad she got out of that situation. She spoke a lot about his money. Even if she was not interested in getting it, she viewed his family's wealth as something that made her inferior to him and them. I hope she has a good therapist and takes the time to be single for a while to heal." This next post was made by a throwaway account in the same subreddit. The post is titled AITAH for causing a rift in my brother's marriage by calling out my sister-in-law for lying in front of everyone. Basically, I hosted a big Christmas party at my house last weekend, and what was supposed to be a fun evening spent celebrating as a family turned into a bit of a shit show, all because of my sister-in-law, Hannah. Now, for some context, my wife Jess and I got married this past September. We wanted to keep the wedding small and intimate, so we decided the wedding would essentially be child-free, with an exception for my half-sister since she's an older kid and I had asked her to be one of my bridesmaids. Back when my brother Alex and his wife Hannah had RSVP'd for the wedding, I made sure to call and remind them that sadly their baby couldn't come with them because it was child-free. I also want to mention here that I had told them about this back when we visited my brother and his family in the summer. Anyway, while on the phone, they said they hadn't forgotten and had already planned for Hannah's mom to babysit. However, when the day of the wedding came, Alex and Hannah showed up with, you guessed it, my then 8-month-old nephew. I'll be honest and admit that I'm kind of a pushover and I didn't want to make a scene on my wife's and my special day, so I regrettably let it go. We got about 2 minutes into the ceremony before extremely loud screaming and crying from my nephew began. The worst part was that they tried to ignore it at first, for about another 2 minutes before Hannah finally excused herself and him. Unfortunately, she couldn't go into another room because we were on a beach. At first, she just tried to walk further down the beach, but the crying could still be heard loud and clear, so she eventually walked back to their car and later decided that she and my nephew would go home and not stay for the reception, and only my brother Alex would stay. Fast forward to the Christmas party. Everything was perfect until Alex, Hannah, and nephew showed up after she had reached out a month prior to tell me they wouldn't be coming at all and would be spending time with her family. I was annoyed and decided to pull them aside when I went to greet them and asked why they didn't tell me they were coming, because I honestly hadn't made enough food to feed 2 more people for dinner, not to mention I had nothing for their son. Alex gave me a confused look and asked why I thought they weren't coming, and when I told him the reason why, all hell broke loose. Alex obviously questioned Hannah as to why she would do this, and her response was to immediately and loudly accuse me of lying and of hating my nephew. Obviously, this got the attention of the room and everyone stopped and turned to look at us like something out of a movie. He then asked why she would think I hate their son, especially considering I agreed to change the policy to allow him to come to the wedding, which, as you already know, I did not do. I quickly told Alex that wasn't true and explained myself and my reasoning behind my choice, that it wasn't personal and that I, of course, love my nephew. I reminded them that I was super cool about the crying and never said anything, even when I probably should have. Jess started to walk over to us from the kitchen, all while Hannah doubled down and tried to make it seem like I was lying, so I lost it and said, well, if I'm a liar who hates your kid, then I guess you should probably get the fuck out of my house. Jess stopped dead in her tracks, and the silence that came after was eerie. Hannah then started crying and quickly left with my nephew, slamming the front door behind her. My brother turned and gave me a sad look before following behind her. It didn't take long before I started to feel embarrassed that I let things escalate like that. Jess comforted me after they left, and we ended the party early because I don't even know how to properly process what just happened. Later, my brother texted me saying he didn't know who to believe. Apparently, Hannah is adamant that I allowed her to bring their son to the wedding last minute because I felt bad for trying to control what she gets to do with her baby. She's also saying I made the Christmas party thing up as well, claiming I've always had a vendetta against her and want to make her look bad. Alex says he just needs time and that he's heartbroken and worried that Hannah isn't who he thought she was. Other family members have been texting me saying they're on my side, but I do kind of feel like an asshole for how I handled everything at the party. I know Hannah is trying to drag my name through the mud, but I feel guilty for making her cry, intentionally trying to publicly humiliate her, and for ruining the vibe of my own party. So AITAH for causing a rift in my brother's marriage by calling out my sister-in-law for lying in front of everyone at my Christmas party. User DGF20 said, for trying to control what she gets to do with her baby. That was her real feelings about your wedding request to be child-free. Liars always tell on themselves. Instead of being an adult and discussing any concerns with you, she decided to manipulate the situation and go behind your and your brother's back. She did this to herself. Release your guilt. You shouldn't want your brother married to such a person anyway. I feel so sorry for your nephew growing up with a mother like that. So far, so bad. If he stays with her, moving forward, make sure everything related to events and planning is in writing through your brother only or on a group chat, and don't accept phone calls from her. User Pandoratastic said NTA. It's nice that you feel compassionate toward your sister-in-law, especially for your brother's sake. But you didn't create this problem, and if you hadn't called her out on her lies and manipulation, she would just continue doing it. You can't really keep the peace in a family situation like this. Trying to keep the peace is like trying to hold down the lid on a pot that's trying to boil over. You can hold that lid all you want, but the pressure is going to keep building until it explodes unless you do something about the actual source of the problem. And there's no way you could have handled this where no one would get upset. You've probably chosen the path that would lead to the lowest total amount of upset over time, even if it meant an uncomfortable amount of upset right now. User Dachshund Mom said, you've got to stop being the doormat. She thinks she can lie to everyone because you've laid down and taken it so much. Good for you that you've had enough. Now, don't go back to bending yourself in knots. I'd lay everything out for your brother or send him this post and tell him that going forward, you will not be talking to Hannah at all. Obviously, she can't be trusted, and so all communication will be through him, with confirmations made via text. Make it clear that you will not be called a liar in your own home and won't be extending any invites to someone who treats you this way. Update. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who read my post and tried to give me advice or just overall help me feel better about the entire situation. I originally intended to look more in depth at the comments and reply to some or answer questions, but I'm too stressed and too preoccupied because so much has happened in a short time. I now have a lot of new information to share that has changed everything. My brother is now going to be staying with my wife and me for the time being. We decided this when he unexpectedly arrived late last night, and we had a long talk where I learned the full scope of everything that had happened with Hannah after the party up until now. He said that after taking some time and space away from her, he asked her to have a sit-down talk. He explained to me that during this time, he realized that she was 100% lying and I was 100% telling the truth, but still wanted to try and give her a chance to fully explain why she would act the way she did, why she would lie, and how she could justify treating him and me this way. Hannah tried to deflect and gaslight him when first confronted, but when he made it clear he wasn't having it, she snapped and admitted to him that she's always disliked me, and the main reason why is because she's uncomfortable with my lifestyle. She went on to say that Jess makes her the most uncomfortable due to her appearance and what she wears, and that she's just so sick and tired of pretending none of this upsets her. There was more, but Alex said that was all he was going to tell me. All of that was, of course, her reasoning for lying to my brother by telling him that I allowed the baby to attend the wedding last minute, and that she had secretly hoped her baby would fuss or cry and ruin part of the ceremony. She explained that she wanted to do something similar for the Christmas party in order to make me look unhinged and like I didn't want them there, making the wedding incident seem like a completely different situation to the family, one where she is the martyr and I the aggressor. I always knew knew she didn't like me, but fuck. I didn't realize she was so homophobic that the mere fact Jess and I exist at all is detrimental to her. I decided that I'll never tell my wife the details Alex told me, but I'm honestly glad I know all of this now. I'll never feel guilty for calling out shitty behavior from people ever again. Alex assured me that he was extremely disgusted with her and what she said and had absolutely no idea she felt this way at all, but he then told me he wasn't actually done telling me everything she confessed. Here's where shit really hits the fan. Hannah, after going on her homophobic rant, started to get antsy and pace around the room, leaving my brother just sitting there, devastated and confused. After a few minutes of said pacing, she continued to confess to my brother, now explaining that not only is she having an affair, she is also 100% certain he's not the biological father of their child they've been raising together these past 11 months. What made things even worse was, after some prying, she eventually let it slip that the affair has been going on for 6 fucking years. She claimed it was love at first sight when she first met her college friend's older brother Josh at a party 6 years ago, but she also knew she never wanted to lose my brother as he was her perfect match, which obviously makes zero sense all things considered. Also, for some added context, they've been married for around 6 years, meaning she has been having an entire secret, serious relationship with another man for the entirety of her marriage to my brother. Safe to say, I am completely shocked, and all I've been doing is spending time with Jess and also Alex. He has been staying with us as I mentioned above, since things are extremely tense and hostile between him and Hannah. They are obviously going to be getting a divorce, but with Christmas literally around the corner, everything is on pause according to him. I respect this, but also cannot wait for her to officially no longer be in our lives. As for Hannah, she seems to have quite literally moved on overnight with Josh and their baby. Overall, I cannot believe she'd betray my brother like that, and I'm sad to know she's been so hateful towards me because of my sexuality. I don't know if I'll have another update, but maybe. I just feel so depleted after yesterday. This next post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Try Disastrous. The post is titled AITAH for not wanting my little brother to call me mom. I took in my little brother Jay earlier in the year. Our mom was sick when he was born and she didn't make it. He barely remembers her now, and our dad was literally only in the picture long enough to make me and then came back 20 years later to make him. So all that Jay has is me and my husband Chris. Last night, as I was putting Jay to bed, he was really sleepy and said, "Love you, Mom." He doesn't call me Mom, he calls me by my name. Usually, Chris puts Jay to bed, and he told me that a few days ago, Jay called him Dad. I don't want him calling us Mom and Dad. Yes, we're raising him as parents would, but we are not his parents. My mom is his mom, and it would be disrespectful to her to take that title. I'm not going to erase my mom. He's not adopted, he got taken in by his big sister. It's a thing that happens. We wound up having a huge argument about it before he left for work today. Am I the asshole? User bboon55 said, "It sounds like you are still really grieving for your mom. Have Jay call you a different name for the time being, maybe sis or sissy. As time goes by, you will all figure it out." User Arrow Eagle said, "I think you are making a bigger deal of it than it is. You and your husband will be the only parental figures that he will know. If you are uncomfortable with it, then you can stop him from calling you mom, but it really isn't worth arguing about." User Economy Rutabaga said, "Answer, let him call you what he calls you, but also take time to educate him about his birth mom with pictures and stories. Right now, he is a kid and does not know the difference, but repetition and education about your mother will make it easier as he grows up." Update. A few days ago, I posted about my little brother calling me mom and the fact that my husband had been letting him call him dad. My husband and I had a few bad arguments about it even after I posted, but he apologized and admitted he didn't know what it was like because he hadn't lost his mom and his dad had been around. He told me that he loved taking care of Jay so much that he didn't want to wait anymore to be a dad. I asked why it was so important to have that title, and he said he didn't know. It just felt like it made things mean more. We didn't really get a resolution then, and he got his mother roped into things, and funny enough, she actually sided with me and told him it was disrespectful to my mother. I didn't expect that because, well, my husband's always been kind of a mama's boy, but she did ask him if it was the title of dad that mattered or any title, and he said he wasn't sure. Then she went and talked to Jay all alone. He admitted that he was confused and that since I look so much like our mom, he sometimes gets confused and thinks I am her and that he didn't mean it and would stop. My mother-in-law told us that Jay was clearly worried about not fitting in or wanting things to fit in how they used to be and hadn't been adjusting to living with us like we thought. Pretty much, she said he doesn't feel like he has a place in our house. I don't know how she realized that, but she's a resource teacher and she suggested that maybe him calling us titles would work. I told some people in the last post that maybe I'd consider Chinese titles because we are Chinese, so I brought that up, and my mother-in-law suggested that Jay call me what is pretty much big sister and my husband what is big brother. It's only been a few days, but he's taken to it right away, and maybe because my husband was an only child, but he has this huge smile whenever Jay calls him by it. I know this wasn't a spicy update like some people might have been expecting, but I'm glad it wasn't. Thank you to everyone who posted sincere help.